Hey guys, how you doing today? It's me, Kelly. So today I got a request to use Neocolors. Now I've been using the water-soluble oil pastels, and somebody asked what the Neocolors would be like. And so what I did was I put gesso here, and this is just like Bristol paper, mixed media paper, whatever you have. But I put gesso here, and I always use the gesso from Folk Art, but of course you use whatever you have. No gesso here, and here I made texture paste. And I'm going to do a video on how I did that, but I'll show you what it comes out like. So let me show you a few things. So this is this is a little pencil case. If you've been with me for a while, you've seen this before. And in it is some Neocolors. Now this is all I have. I don't have many, but these are metallic watercolors, and they're really cool. And if you want a video on them, let me know down below, and I'll show you. You can get these at, like, your craft store, arts craft store, whatever. There is aquamarine, peridot. I don't know what leaked in here. Uh, marcasite. I don't know what the heck it is. It's red. Um, Yellow and copper. I might even have more somewhere, but these are the ones that I use. I don't know what the heck is all over these. It looks like it's like wax. So who the heck knows with me? Enjoyable, isn't it? Okay, so let's just play a little bit and show you what these are like and what they do. They are fun. Now, you can get these on Amazon. You can get these on Dick Blick, cheap Joe's Art Supplies, those kind of things. You could buy them separately. You can also buy them in a kit. Um, I will try to remember to put a link down below for them on Amazon, but you can they're called, let me see if I can get a darker one so you can see the lighter. They're called Neocolor, and they are from, I know they're like Carna Dash or something like that. They're water-soluble wax pastels, and it's CARNEDACHE. So they're really cool, and I have different kinds and variations of these where they are different brands, less expensive brands. There are more expensive brands. So yeah, they're a lot of fun. And when I go downstairs again in my art room, I will find the less expensive water soluble wax pastels. So let's get again. So here we go. And like I said, I gessoed, and I have this going on and then nothing here. And let's just see how they work. So let's do on the gesso. And I'm just gonna, now, when you use gesso, there's texture, right? You don't always, if you're somebody who doesn't want texture, maybe you're doing a painting and you need gesso, but you don't want it to be, textured like this. You can sand it with a very lightweight sandpaper, and that will definitely smooth it out so you have no texture. Because I'm a mixed media artist, texture doesn't bother me too much, so it doesn't bother me. But you definitely can get a very fine grit sandpaper and just do a real quick sand on it, dust it off, and then you'll be good to go. So we're going to do, that is on the gesso, and then of course this is on the regular paper, and then we'll do some on the texture there. And you can kind of see how cool the texture is. And for mixed media, this is fantastic. So let's do this first. We will do a little bit of water. I'm just going to wet my brush, but I'm going to dab it off. And let's go into the gesso. And look at that, it liquefies it. And these are beautiful, intense colors. And look how pretty. Now this will be the non-gesso. And look how pretty. You can see it's a little bit more I am moving on my chair. Can you hear that? It's not me having gas. It's just me moving. I don't know why. I must be sitting on a weird angle or something. Anyway, you can see how that is. Now I would go back with my brush and I would have it dry, you know, so if I didn't want any of the texture in there, so, and just kind of spread it out. And you can see you can get it very light, you know, and on here it's drying. But you can do the same thing if you want it to be lighter. And this is fun to use, you know, for mixed media or whatever you're using. And then let's go here on the texture. Now, I love using texture with stencils and, you know, that kind of thing. Just even doing like this, because it just adds, you know, when you're doing layers and that kind of thing, it just adds some really cool effects. So you see, I'm just kind of going back and forth on it. And let me show you up here. Look how cool. Hard to see the texture, but that's on gesso and that's on the regular Bristol paper that I'm using right now. Very, very cool. Nothing, I can do, what the heck is this? I can do different, you know, techniques with this. Now, these come with, you can get different skin tones. This is called Flesh. So I don't know why my light is being really, it's annoying me. So let's try to do this over. Like, see, it's kind of like shadowing everything and I'm not real sure why. I need to bring my other light over. Anyway, look at that. Like I can play puppets. Oh, la, la, la. I don't want to do puppets. And my hand's sticking out. I don't know what the heck is going on. Sometimes the light changes. Anyway, let's continue on. All right, so this is Flesh. This color is, let's see, Apricot. And that's on the gesso. And then this will be, and you can push harder, right? Let's do, like you can get it. Look at that. How hard you can do it. So many beautiful colors. You can see how, and let's mix it. Let's kind of blend and see what happens. Because these are water reactive. So of course, you know, if you use water again, then this will react again. There's metallic as well. Look at this. So we'll use some metallic here too. You got to have metallic. And I'm sure I have not bought any in a while. Maybe they have glitter ones. I have no idea. But let's get to getting. Let's do these ones first. And this is on the gesso. I mean, you could definitely work with that for a skin tone, you know. And then here's Apricot. Just going to blend them. You see they blend good. And then you can add, you know, you can go on top. Let's do a little darker. If you want to add, let's say we're going to add a little bit of shadow or something in there, and you can go right on top the wet. Now, you see I'm using this and the brush is very wet. So I'm really going to dry this off because I have enough water on here. And let's just go for a color that you can really see on there. And I'm just going to put some red. And I have my brush dry because I'm going to use the water that's on here already. And you see how that's more intense. So obviously the more water you use, like anything, it waters it down. And then the less water, you can get a more intense, you know, look to it. Then let's go on to the darker colors. So and what I'm going to do, look at that. And I took a lot of the water off. You can see how intense that is. And that's from pushing a little harder. Look at that. Look at the gorgeous color you get. And you really can spread it. You know, you get a lot of mileage, as they say. And look at the cool texture you can get just from very lightly doing your brush. You get really cool texture. So this is great. And then I'm going to rinse my brush because I don't want it to necessarily mix. I'm going to dry my brush, and then I'm going in for the metallic. Oh yeah. And then you can mix it if you want. Kind of take it up there, pull it down, and mix. And now you have a metallic green. And look how that changed colors. Look how cool. Can you see that metallic shine? I don't know. It's hard to say. Let's see down here. Let's do the metallic first. These are just so cool. And like I said, there are different variations, different brands. Now let's say I do this and I'm like, you know what? I want it a little darker, right? Maybe I want it to be a little bit more metallic or a little darker. And I already have the water on there. I have to see if I have gold in here. And I'm just going to go in and lay down some more color. And let's see, didn't wet my brush anymore. Now, one thing, understand, when you go on, when you're doing this on certain papers, now this is Bristol, like I said, sometimes it'll stain. So when you scribble on, now see, what's happening is it's lifting my paper up. When I did it, it lifted some of the paper up when I scribbled on it. So be aware of that as well. So that wasn't, you know, that wasn't the best. But if I use, let's see. See, now I'm buffing it and it's lifting up all that crumbly bits. And you don't want that. You don't want that. So now I'm going to go over here to this green and mix it in here. And you see how pretty that is? And then we'll go here. And I have too much water. I know that, but yeah. Now you see the two colors. Now let's say we're doing this color, which is the face color, but we want it a little lighter. So then what you'll do is, I always buy white with everything. I always do my red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black, and white, because you really get good, you know, good colors and whatnot. So if I took my white and just added a little bit in here, or took my wet brush, dried it, the majority of it off, and then just took a little bit on my brush, which you definitely can do with this as well, and then went in, look how it lightens it. But here's the scribble. Can you see that underneath there? That's where I scribbled it on, right here. And when you're not using gesso, that kind of happens. It doesn't, where you scribble it, it kind of lives. Now there's ways you can go about that as well. And I'll show you that very quickly. And if you want me to do a face or something like that, let me know. I will definitely do that for you. I just want to show some different, you know, some different things. So here's a really good way that you can do this if you want to use it on non-gessoed paper. And you can even do this if you're gessoing it as well. So I'm going on my non-stick craft mat. And what we're going to do, see, I'm scribbling it. And I'm going to take my brush. I want my brush to be damp, not soaking wet. And I'm going in and I'm going to brush over it. And what does it do? It liquefies it. So now you can go on to your paper Let's do a sky. You see what I'm saying? Let's do whatever you want. And you're not worrying, this is not gessoed, you're not worrying about it peeling the paper up like it did on the metallic. And then this will be our texture that I make. I love this textured. You see? So you definitely, and you add just a little bit more water if you wanted a little bit more watercolor, because this is what it is. And you go ahead and do that. And then if you want to mix colors, let's say we want a dark purple, we can just go scribble some of that purple on there. Take some up. Oh my God, I'm really squeaking today. And look, and then we can just do it that way. And look how pretty. And you just pull some of that down and you get that delicious, look at that. It just goes into one color to the next and it kind of blends and it's beautiful. So that is fun to do as well, especially if you buy these, which, you know, they're not really cheap. I don't know. They might be $1, you know, unless you get them on sale. But if you're doing this with kids, which is a lot of fun, and you have these, use a piece of wax paper, you know, the waxy side, or your craft mat or something that's non-stick, because you can give each of them just a little scribble and then they can go in with their paintbrush, you know, and then they can just get a little bit of color and do what they want to do. And then you don't have to worry about, you know, them breaking the crayons, or if you know, those things bother you, which they tend to bother me. I'm not going to lie. All right, so this is the silver. So let's do the silver here and see what happens. I'm going to put a lot of it down. I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to clean it off. I'm going to dry it a little bit. I'm going to just lightly run this over. Let's see. Yeah. A little bit more. Of course, it's going to be lighter. It's metallic, but look how pretty. So you can see it's much different here than it is here. So that's scrubbing the paper off when I'm doing it back and forth. So if you're using a cheaper paper, of course, if you're using watercolor paper and that kind of thing, you won't get this kind of thing, you know, so quickly. But this is just Bristol or mixed media or whatever. And sometimes it happens, you know, it happens to all of us. It's not that big a deal. But you definitely can see, like I said, how bright you can get them and how watercolory you can get them. And I think they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to play with. And like I said, if you just do the colors of the rainbow, you definitely can mix colors together. Like, what is it? Red and blue make purple. So let's do a red and blue real quick. And let me see. Okay, I don't know what the heck is sticky. Okay, so we're gonna do some red. This is on gesso. And then I'm going to do it off of gesso. No, I'm not pushing hard. And then I'm going to take blue and I'm just laying it over top. And I'm going to lay it over top. And let's see. Dry my brush because I don't want it too wet. And look. Look at that beautiful purple you get. And of course, you play with the amounts of what you put in and you'll get different, you know, different tones. But there you go. And then let's do it on the non-gesso. So you can see, look at that. Completely, because I didn't measure, I just put in. I put out the colors. And you can see, you can get definitely different colors, and it works on both gessoed and non. The lighter, obviously, the better off, you know, to play, but you definitely get two different ones. Let's see, what color? Let's do, last color. Let's do it on here. Let's add some yellow on here. Let's see what we get there. Oh, that is like one of my favorite greens. Look at that. It's like a yellow green. Hello, Cal. Yellow and green. But look at that. And look at the color. So you see, you can definitely mix these with no problem. and you just get gorgeous, gorgeous colors to play with. A lot of fun. Like I said, these are a lot of fun. And to draw and to do backgrounds. And let me just tell you, I'm going to tell you one last thing. A fun thing that I like to do to make these permanent is I like to take my Mod Podge. We'll do it real quick because I'm sitting here. I like to take Mod Podge, like that. I like to put it here. I'm going to just show you something. This is how you make it permanent. And let's take the dark blue. I will add here. Like that. I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to activate it with my Mod Podge. Now your Mod Podge dries clear, so there's no issue. Of course, it's white when you put it down. And then you go paint. Right? We're painting. This is on the gesso. You see it does the same. And what happens is it dries, which I will show you in 1 second. Okay, I'm just going to dry it real quick with my heat gun. A lot of people ask me how to make things permanent, watercolor pencils and that kind of thing. So this is a fantastic way. I'm just drying it. And you see these dry very fast. They dry as fast as water dries because you're using water to activate them. All right. Okay. And then we'll take our brush, we'll clean it out real good, dry it a little bit, and then you see it's not, I'm making it go up, it's not going on any of the paper. Down here I'm going to brush it down. Look, nothing right here, down, and you can see there's water, and you can see this next to it. Watch that green. Look, the more I do it, you see it lifts, right? But when I go over this, it's not lifting. Isn't that awesome? So you definitely can use these in your mixed media, use some of your Mod Podge and make it permanent, and then work over it. So now you want maybe a color over this, but you didn't want it to mix, right, as much. Obviously, color on top of color is going to mix a little bit just because of the shadows and that kind of thing. But if I use red and I go, you know, I write on here, let's see, breathe, right? It's not going to blend because underneath is sealed. So it's not going to blend with that blue. So look, now I'm putting a layer of the red on there and it's not making it so purple. And you get that like cast of the red on top. You can do a stencil on top. It wouldn't matter because it's just going to look on, you know what I mean? It's not going to blend. Also, something that's really cool is baby wipes. If you have baby wipes sitting around, I'm going to wet this to reactivate it. If you have a baby wipe sitting, see, I could sit here for hours and show you every single tip that comes to me because, you know, I use these in so many different ways and sometimes I forget unless I'm sitting here. So if you have a baby wipe and you don't want to use a brush or you don't have a brush or you're working with the kids, you know, use your baby wipe and look what happens. And my baby wipe dried a little bit, so I just added a little bit of water. But look at that beautiful, almost like pastel color that you get. And of course, you know, you can keep it dark if you want. This is on the gesso. You know, you just don't scrub it as much. And you get a darker color. So there's so many different ways to play with these. I could sit here for hours. Let me know what you want, you know, if you want me to show you anything with these as a project, rather than just demoing what they do. These are delicious. I love them. I've done giveaways on them before. I don't think I have any here to do a giveaway with right this second, but you know, that could always change. And yeah, just very excited. And again, you can do this with watercolor pencils. You can do this with different brands. Let me know what you guys want to see down below, and I definitely will show you guys. But this is so much fun. You can use this in mixed media in so many ways. You can use this for faces. I'm sure you guys have seen it. And yeah, so if you guys enjoy these videos, leave me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Leave me a comment. Even though I don't get back to every single one of you, your comments mean so much to me, and I love reading them, and I appreciate them so greatly. And please share me around. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, please be kind to each other. You never know what battle somebody else is fighting. You guys rock. I love you guys. Thank you for letting me do what I love. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.